When Gloria began training and working on the club floor, she quickly realized that working conditions were pretty unfortunate. It was common for bunnies to work 8+ hours without a break, during which they were spending all of their time running around in 3-inch high heels. Bunnies were given a meal ticket for each shift, which they could trade in for a free meal in the employees' lounge. But even on the rare occasions when they could take a break, the lounge served the exact same stew every single day. Come on now. As a result of long shifts on her feet and having no time to break for meals, Gloria dropped 10 pounds during her brief employment stint. The high heel shoes were not the only uncomfortable piece of work attire they had to wear. Their outfits were made up of these satin bikini briefs and a satin corset top. The uniform was accessorized with a matching set of satin bunny ears, black pantyhose, a tuxedo collar and cuffs, and a poofy white bunny tail. The corset tops were notoriously tight, to the point that it was not uncommon for a zipper to break or a seam to burst if a bunny sneezed. Gloria reported that her corset was altered to be 2 inches smaller than all of her measurements, except for the bust area. The bunnies were given plastic dry cleaning bags to stuff their bra cups with, which was both uncomfortable and hot to wear. By the end of her first training shift, Gloria had a welt over her spine from where the zipper had been digging into her skin all night. One of the worst parts of the job was working around the stringent demerit system. Bunnies can earn 5 demerits for any of the following infractions. Here we go. Having a dirty or droopy bunny tail, wearing heels lower than 3 inches, wearing tights with runs or holes in them, crooked or unmatched bunny ears, wearing jewelry, dirty costumes, not wearing one's name tag, not reacting appropriately to the club's performers, messy hair, bad nails, bad makeup, calling the room director by his first name, or eating in the bunny room. Chewing gum or eating while on duty was 10 demerits for the first offense, 20 demerits for the second, and dismissal for the third. Failure to report to work without a replacement would result in dismissal after 3 occurrences, plus the employee would be blacklisted from all other Playboy clubs. Failing to follow the room director's instructions cost 15 demerits, and showing up late to work or late from break cost 1 demerit per minute. The Bunny Bible also stated that it was up to each club's management to determine what the monetary value of a demerit should be, but one source I found estimated it to be around $2.50 per demerit. The same Walmart service agents who were responsible for making sure that the bunnies weren't dating any of the clientele, they were also responsible for reporting any demerit infractions to management. It was a very Big Brother-esque kind of environment. Most notably, none of the bunnies were making the $200 to $300 per week that the job ad advertised. New York City minimum wage laws guarantee the bunnies make a minimum salary of $50 a week plus tips, but the club took 50% of the first $30 worth of tips that were paid via credit card. Bunnies were technically allowed to keep all of their cash tips, but they were not allowed to solicit or encourage patrons to pay tips in cash instead of with a card. The bunnies were also nickel and dimed by having to purchase their own shoes, makeup, pantyhose, and having to pay $2.50 a day for the upkeep of their costumes. By the end of her first week, Gloria received a paycheck for $35.90. When she asked the bunny mother why it was so low, she informed her that bunnies don't get paid for training. This meant that Gloria did not get paid for her first 2 shifts that she worked. And of course, there was the strain of having to interact with the Playboy Club's lovely clientele. It was not uncommon for male customers to pull their bunny tails or try to cuddle up to the servers, to which the bunnies always replied, "Sir, you are not allowed to touch the bunnies." As you would imagine, a lot of sleazy innuendos were thrown their way as well. In one particularly disgusting incident, one of Gloria's customers came up behind her and started breathing heavily down her neck. When she pulled away from him, he angrily barked, "What do you think I come here for, the roast beef?" Ugh. In total, Gloria Steinem spent 11 days as a Playboy Bunny. As a result of the swelling caused by spending hours walking in 3-inch heels, her feet permanently grew a half size larger. Part 1 of the article, A Bunny's Tale, was published in Show magazine in May of 1963, followed up by Part 2 in the June issue. The article was an instant sensation and thrust Gloria Steinem into the public spotlight. A Bunny's Tale is known today for exposing the widespread sexism and casual dehumanization that the bunnies face. Gloria also succeeded in exposing just how incredibly tacky and overrated the Playboy clubs were, even for men. The clubs were marketed as a real-life Playboy magazine experience, but in reality, it was just a bunch of beautiful women pretending to fawn over their male customers, while the men were told that they had to keep their hands to themselves. In summary, the experience provided by the Playboy clubs were a far cry from the sexually liberating experience that Playboy magazine claimed to be championing. Playboy founder Hugh Hefner initially responded positively to Gloria's article. He sent a long letter to her in which he claimed that he had no issue with the article and even credited her for persuading him to abolish the bunny's internal physicals and blood tests. Good for him. During the 1960s, Hefner considered himself to be a liberal hero who was really openly supportive of the women's movement and a key player in the sexual revolution. However, a memo leaked by his secretary in 1970 revealed his true feelings. In this memo, he described the direction of feminism as, quote, highly irrational, emotional, and kooky. These chicks are our natural enemy, unquote. By the mid-1980s, Hefner seemed to have lost all positive connection with the women's movement. Despite the scathing account she presented from her time working in the Playboy Club, Gloria actually received several letters from women asking for her advice on how to become a Playboy bunny. Playboy even insisted that her article increased bunny recruiting for a period of time. Gloria also dealt with professional backlash as a result of her reporting. For a long time, editors only wanted her for sleazy undercover stories, including tons of requests to pose as a prostitute in order to expose the nasty realities of the sex industry. She even turned down a publishing deal to turn her bunny article into a book for fear of reinforcing this perception of her writing. Although she did eventually find her way out of this so-called bunny limbo, it took a long time for her to come to terms with the article that had made her famous. Gloria went on to become a columnist for New York Magazine, co-founder of the National Women's Political Caucus, and co-founder of Ms. Magazine. Among her many accomplishments, she was the founding president of the Ms. Foundation for Women and helped create Take Our Daughters to Work Day. Get it, girl. She currently travels internationally as an organizer and lecturer and is a media spokeswoman on issues of equality. Today, A Bunny's Tale, renamed I Was a Playboy Bunny later on by the author, is recognized alongside the feminine mystique and other groundbreaking feminist writings of the 1960s. That wraps up our episode on Gloria Steinem's time as a Playboy Bunny. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to check out the Salacious History page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @SalaciousHist. That's SALACIOUSHIST. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps to get the word out about the show. This podcast is researched, written, recorded, edited, produced, and marketed all by me. So please, show me some much needed love and support and partner with me on patreon.com. If you have questions, corrections, or ideas for future episodes, you can email me at salacioushistory@gmail.com. I'm Sarah Duncan. See you next time.